you've got how many doors now?
We have,
real estate?
we just tipped over 400 single family homes.
400 single family
Yeah,
homes.
we have 100 plus apartment units. We got a farm in Costa Rica, some property in Costa Rica. We got some commercial. We got billboards, laundromats, cleaners, storage units. We try a little of everything. I've never done new development, but I'm trying to get into that. And I'm, trickling into mergers and acquisition. But yeah, that's what I currently have. That's my little portfolio right now.
So what's next? I mean, is just more?
Well,
more of the same?
I want to build to 1,000, at least my first phase is to build to 1,000 single family homes and maybe 1,000 or 2,000 apartment units. I want to build at least $200 million in property. And then, of course, you said it's not just about the money. I like to have a reason why. Number one, my fiance Fair, I want to give her the best life. My family, I want to provide for them. The staff, the people who've been with me from the ground, you don't understand how we start on the ground. We didn't even have foundation, we're on the dirt. I want them to be taken care of. I love them. They are family.
Yeah. Shane Seo, welcome to the It's Not That Deep podcast, brother.
Man, thanks for having me. I always enjoy coming out to Miami to see you.
It's always fun, man. The last few times, we have been on a boat. I'm excited to be on the boat again today.
I'm super excited, man. Very excited.
For people who don't know, you are a real estate investor, developer, fund manager, and owner of Seo Capital Group.
Yes, and we also have, so we have 2 hedge funds as well, real estate hedge funds.
Okay, really cool. Yeah. We got a little rocking happening on the boat. It's
that.
cool. I'm ready
fun.
for it.
This is live. This is as live as it gets. It's good.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
So we actually connected through a mutual friend, Dallas. Dallas has been a client of ours for years, and you and him have built a relationship. Big shout out to Dallas.
Hello, Dallas.
That's the serendipity of social media sometimes, right? You put yourself out there and you're able to connect with really amazing people, and you guys are both Atlanta-based.
Absolutely.
It's really cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Believe it or not, I was wanting to get into personal branding and social media, but I'm an introverted person. Fun enough, I was going through TikTok, found Dallas talking about real estate, and I said, man, I'm going to reach out to this guy. Maybe he can sell my condo in Atlanta. Reached out to him. He ended up being in the same building. And honestly, I didn't tell you this, but because of you and Dallas is kind of the reason I started doing more personal branding. Finally pulled the trigger. So so you know.
I love to hear that so much. And first of all, thank you for that amazing compliment. You don't know how much that means, because we believe, Jamie and I, my business partner, Jamie and I.
Jamie's great.
We thoroughly believe that putting out content, putting yourself out there, putting yourself on social media, it's a net positive. Everyone and their mom has an opinion about, flexing and all this crazy stuff and some of the negatives and downsides of social media. But I've only seen positives. I've only seen, really good things come back to me, especially in terms of the network and who you know and who knows you.
Absolutely. Right? And honestly, the personal branding that we're doing, as we're doing educational stuff, we're in the business niche. So it's kind of nice to nerd out and find other people that have the same interests or have other cool things that they can do. So it brings me other opportunities. Some people bring me deals. Sometimes I can give deals to them, and it's all through social media branding.
It's cool, man. Well, I'm excited because I've seen you have consistently been putting stuff out. You've been investing in it.
Trying.
You've been doing some really cool stuff, and I know you've got these different real estate meetups, and you're always investing in mentorship and coaching yourself.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate that and respect that about you. We're going to dive into a lot of these different topics on today's podcast, but where I want to start is actually, you have a background in martial arts.
I do.
Is karate and taekwondo, or which one is it?
It's more taekwondo.
Okay.
So yeah, my dad, I guess, he came to America, I don't know, like 50, 60 years ago. He was one of the first 2 that actually brought taekwondo to America. So I grew up in it my whole life. Started when I was 3, and then when I was 22, opened my own school, and then I opened up to 4 or 5 taekwondo schools because it's what I know and I enjoy it, and I believe it's good for confidence and all that stuff too, not only just self-defense. But yeah.
Beautiful. No, that's really cool. I remember I always wanted to sign up for Taekwondo growing up. Am I saying it wrong?
Yeah, Taekwondo. Or
Taekwondo.
Taekwondo.
Yeah. So growing up, I just remember always wanting to join these different schools. And some of my friends that did, it was just so cool to see their confidence go up, how they worked better with other people.
Absolutely.
And it translates for the rest of your life. Would you say that, being involved in martial arts kind of at that stage in your life, you carry that with you today?
Oh, absolutely. So even kids nowadays, like you've seen movies or shows where, Karate Kids or Taekwondo, they break boards and stuff. Basically, not only are we teaching kids self-defense and I can do it attitude, but for example, when we put the board in front of them, they're usually afraid and say, I can't do this, or they're a little nervous. And honestly, they may even try and not break it the first time. But what we do is we teach them, here's an obstacle, I don't know if I can do it, and then we kind of coach them and then help them do it. And sometimes when they break their first sport, you're like, oh, instant confidence right away. So we want to push that I can do it attitude to them. Well, that's how I grew up. My mom and dad really pushed, always saying, hey, look, I know it's tough, but you can do it. You can do it the hard way. Even if it looks impossible, try it. So it really helped me move forward. And then as I got older, growing in the Taekwondo business, I feel even to this day, everything that I learned in the Taekwondo business, from marketing to sales, to giving quality to the customers, to communication, to staff, Taekwondo is the answer to everything. I still say that to my staff to this day. So I believe it helped me in not just personal stuff and the confidence, but in business. Yeah.
I could totally relate. I don't do Taekwondo, but I do practice, boxing, kickboxing, a little bit of Muay Thai.
That's
and
great stuff.
It's something that keeps me so grounded, and the principles from that carry and translate into the rest of my life, in my business, in my relationships, in my interactions, in my confidence. Growing up, I played football, so I was more team sports, and I really enjoyed the kind of the camaraderie and leadership and different skills from that. But I mean, I always say if I had kids now, I would put them in martial arts over anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
because it doesn't teach them just team. Like you said, team's good, but it also helps them individually. And I love the fact that they can use both. Absolutely.
Totally. So how does one go from owning, what was it, 5 Taekwondo schools at one point?
Yeah, so we had up to 5. Since then, we sold 3 and kept 2.
Okay, so you still have them?
I do. I still have 2. We have one of the, I believe, the largest martial arts Taekwondo school in North Georgia, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really cool, man. I love to hear that. So, but how does one go from that to getting into this crazy real estate game that you found yourself in, doing creative financing and lend, like all this crazy stuff that you do? Like how does that transition happen?
Even though I was doing Taekwondo schools, whether it was good or not, I had kind of an entrepreneur bug, I guess. I love things that just I'm curious about. I wanted to try. So I mean, we held beauty pageants. We did photography stuff. We even tried that. But what really hit me was I had just transitioned out of my school, that I had staff running my school. So I wasn't more of the teacher anymore. I was more of the boss / master. I was going, the old age kind of thing, I felt like. But so I was more just being more behind the scenes and just being the face every once in a while. Well, one day I was in a shopping center where my Taekwondo school was, and this guy bought the pizza place next to me. He bought the existing pizza place, and he had his hair slicked back, pulled up in a nice car. His wife had a matching car. It said Mr. and Mrs. their name. I don't want to put them out publicly, but I said, sir, what do you do? And he says, man, you need to take me to lunch, young boy. I said, oh, okay. So I took him to eat. We went to Outback, it was Longhorn, sorry.
Okay.
And he said, I do real estate. This is what I do. This is how I do it. You should do it. And I said, okay. So I tried it. And 5 years later, did nothing. I tried, but it was just, he was there for that one lunch, but I didn't have a mentor, and I was using YouTube and just looking at books, and I guess because I was afraid that because I wasn't around it enough, Right. But after 5 years, then I finally did my first deal. That's the quick story, I guess.
Yeah, having done a little bit of research on that, I mean, so you didn't do your first deal until almost 30 years old.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
and it was like 5 years of like almost doing a deal, pulling out. Almost doing a deal, pulling out.
Yeah. Oh man, it's even more embarrassing than that. So yeah, 25 is when I met that guy. And for 5 years, okay, I don't know how many people knows how a normal traditional real estate deal works, but you find a property, you get a realtor, They put an offer on the property. If it gets accepted, you have 30 days to get financing or pay cash or whatever. I got 30 to 40 homes under contract on probably good deals. I look back and say, man, I wish I bought them. But I got them under contract, and then before the due diligence period, where where you have to do it, I'd cancel every time. But a month before I turned 30, I got a property under contract with a buddy of mine. He was only 20 years old. I'm like 29, and I think he thought I was really wealthy, or he just really wanted commission. He was just a new realtor. And I called him again, like I did on all the deals, and said, man, I'm canceling. And he said, Shane, it's a cheap $45,000 home. It's going to be worth 90 or whatever. You got to do it. So I was like, oh my gosh, I was terrified. I said, I'm going to actually do this. So I called a buddy of mine. He had a little bit more money than me, of course. And I said, man, here's the deal. Here's how much we can sell it for. Let's split this 50-50. He paid for the home. I used credit cards because I didn't have any money barely, and I did all the renovations. And we sold the home 8 months later for $124,000.
Wow, more than you even expected.
Yeah, so me and him split around 60. After taxes, around 20 grand is what I got. But it was definitely a lot more stressful than what I wanted, but I learned a lot from the first deal.
But you did get the bug.
I did.
And from there, it just kind of snowballed.
Absolutely. So then you mentioned earlier creative financing. So that was from January to August that I did that fix and flip. Well, during that process, I had to deal with contractors. I was scared to death. I'm like, I'm going to lose my buddy's money. Like I said, one of the contractors came and bailed on me. I had to find another one. I had all these old people that would tell me, oh, in 2008, 2010, I lost all my money.
Right. So there was a lot of fear baked in at that time after 2008, after people had their net worth wiped, basically.
Absolutely. And they're terrifying me. So during that time, I found an old video on YouTube. This old man said, hey, you can buy this with no money down, no bank, nothing, this. And I was like, man, that's a scam. But you know what? It made sense. So I made calls and pitched some creative terms, which we can talk about a little later if you want. And I got my first 60 homes from August to December.
From that August to September, you scaled up, you bought 60 more homes?
60 homes. So from January to August, now don't forget, that's 5 years to do that first one. I did one fix and flip. Then from August to December, I got 60 single family homes. I just used that old mess. It was YouTube University,
YouTube University. I think a lot of us here and a lot of my people in my circle in business, we credit a lot of what we've done to YouTube University.
Absolutely.
I mean, it taught me more than anything, but then also investing in courses, coaches, mentors, which I definitely want to talk to you about.
Absolutely.
But let's go to the creative financing thing, because I'm going to be honest with you. I am very ignorant when it comes to real estate. I mean, I do own a property.
Cool,
but I just, when it comes to actually investing or understanding, Dallas will talk sometimes to me, our mutual friend, and I just my brain I'm like, I don't know what earnest money and this and all these crazy terms and interest rates and all. My brain gets, I don't know what
it's a lot, it seems like at first.
Explain to me, like I'm 5 years old, what is creative financing?
All right, creative financing, okay? So, well, maybe not 5. How about if you're 9 years old? So
okay, all right.
I'm right. 9, okay. So, basically, it's kind of like this. This is a nice phone, iPhone, beautiful phone. What are they, $1,000? I don't even know what they cost. $1,000. Instead of me paying you $1,000, can I just give you, $10 a month until I buy it?
And so is that assuming that I have a payment on it? Or are you assuming I own it?
Well, so that's the thing. Now that's going more intricate though. Okay, but basic,
we're no longer 9 years old.
okay. Basic seller financing is this: someone has a house for $100,000. I say, hey, look, can I give you a down payment or no down payment, and I'll pay you monthly for the home for a certain amount of time, and then it's paid off. But so if you meet someone, let's just say that property you have, do you owe on that home?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so that one's a little more intricacy. That has a subject to behind it, which is basically I'm going to buy it subject to your pre-existing loan. I'm going to take over your payments, basically.
Got it.
If you own the house,
if I'm paying like $2,000 a month on my mortgage, and you come to me and you say, look, I'll give you 20 grand, and then I'll take over your payment.
Exactly. So let's say that it's you want to sell it to me for $200,000. You owe $180,000. and you need to move from Miami back to Canada, or you want to go to Texas or some kind of family thing, and you cannot seem to sell the home because of whatever reason, or you need to do it quick. You can't handle 2 monthly payments. You can't pay rent or buy another home or whatever. You can't pay, a mortgage payment in Houston, a mortgage payment here.
Yeah, no, it'd be over leveraged.
So I said, hey man, look, if you sell it for 200,000, you're only walking away with 20. Let me give you the 20, and I'll take over the payments. So now you don't have to worry about the monthly. You're walking away with what you have. That one's a little more sophisticated. But in the perfect case scenario, let's say you own a home, you don't own any mortgage. Okay? Basically, we would make a contract. I would do my due diligence to make sure the house isn't falling apart and make sure it really has no liens. And we would go to an attorney or a title company. They give the deed to me. They turn you into the bank, so you're protected just as much as all the banks. So you're on the insurance if it burns down. You, the bank, gets paid first. If I don't make the payment, you get the house back. You're protected, and you're getting paid monthly. And in most cases, you have to realize if there's interest, you're making more. So you sell it 100 grand, you're really making like 180 or 200, whatever the interest equals out to. So that would be basic seller finance.
That's really interesting. What type of people usually go for something like this?
Man, everybody. I mean, there's multi-million-dollar homes here that have gone for seller finance. The Empire State Building is actually on a master lease, which is a creative type of deal. Okay. You can go all the way to the ghetto, it's just apartment complexes. I mean, everything. Yeah. Boats like this is actually an amazing thing to get a tax write-off and buy creatively. Planes. But
it makes sense because, not everyone, it's so dependent on everyone's situation. And, I had heard you actually talking about one example that really came to mind for me is someone, a student who's just fresh out of college. Yes. Who's wants to be a real estate investor. No, it's probably the right move, but they might not get approved, or they might be not very credit worthy to a bank who, whatever. Yeah. And so explain to me like what one of the use cases for, because I'm sure some people, especially in our generation, really have internalized the feeling that maybe they'll never be able to own real estate. Exactly. And so with something like this, you're almost like kind of giving people hope. So
absolutely.
Explain like how in that situation like creative financing could really help out.
All right, so let me. I guess I'll do that, and I'm going to tell the story at the same time. Cool. So basically, the majority of Americans cannot get a loan. Okay, just to be honest. And it's not because they're not a quality person. They're just not qualified right now. So you just said someone who just gets out of college, they have a new job, they don't have enough job history. Maybe they're self-employed. It's hard to get a mortgage. Yep. Maybe they have bad credit due to medical bills, college loans, or whatever. Yeah. So here's the example. And this is actually what touched me really well, because my home that I lived in Rome, Georgia, I bought on a lease option. Someone gave me an opportunity. So
sorry, explain what a lease option is.
So lease is this. So I'm leasing. Okay, if you can't get a loan, you're gonna be renting anyway. Why not rent where you may possibly buy?
Rent to own.
Yeah, but rent to own is a very that's a lot of people use that term, but the more correct way is a lease with an option. Some people say lease purchase, like rent to own, all that. Okay, but lease option is you're leasing the property. It's two different documents. You're leasing it, and you have the option to buy. You have a beautiful penthouse where you're at. I remember, very nice. I'm just going to make up fake numbers because I don't want to reveal where you live and all that stuff. But let's just say you're paying $5,000 a month. I don't know if he ever wants to sell. Probably not. But if he does, you say, let's just say he says, yeah, in the future, maybe in 3 to 5 years, I would take $1 million for that place, right? You say, well, can I have the option to buy it for $1 million while I pay rent for $5,000? If you're going to rent, why not rent where you at least have an option to buy it if you want to, just like leasing a car.
As you start getting more promotions, as you become more credit worthy, as your situation improves, that could be a reality and it's something to work towards.
Absolutely. And see, for me, I was a young guy. I own my own taekwondo school, so I'm self-employed. I didn't have an S corp, so I didn't have like a W-2 to show. So I was able to rent it with an option to buy, and then after 2-3 years, once I got my credit in order, I got my job history in order, and everything else in order, I then was able to buy. So it's basically like layaway.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, from my experience, you know, growing up in Canada, and I had this job. You know, might not look like it now with kind of the life that I live and whatnot, but I worked a 9-to-5 job for 6 years out of college, and it was for the federal government. And so,
I didn't know that.
Stable job, 9 to 5. Wanted to put a bullet in my brain, just so boring, especially with that entrepreneurial fire. Like it drained me, but I'm very grateful for that. But the bigger point is, I come from an immigrant background. So from my parents' perspective, success is, you know, either you get a really good job, but you gotta get a house, get married, have some kids, whatever. You need property. It's like not just a status thing, but it's very important.
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, okay, well, I work this job, and I know I'm gonna quit. I can't stay here much longer. I'm gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
And so, but before I do that, and I remember actually going up to my business partner and like kind of asking his opinion on this, because I'm like, we're not that successful yet that I can quit my job, but we will soon. I will go all in.
Look where you're
soon.
at now. Yeah.
Thank you, man. But at that moment, I just remember being like, you know what though, I should do the right thing here. Where right now I'm very credit worthy. I'm a bank's dream right now.
Absolutely.
They got me on the golden handcuffs for the next 40 years. They got me, so they know they'll make their payments. And I got qualified for like $500,000. And so I was like, let me get a spot. And the interest rates were insanely low, like 1.6%.
Oh my gosh.
And I was
crazy.
like, let me buy a spot. I didn't have a lot of money, but I had to get creative in my own respect, where I'm like, look, like I'll scrape together a down payment, credit cards, bank of mom and dad, cash out some of my stupid investments and stuff, and let me get a house. I'm very glad I did that, because over a few years I've already built a decent amount of equity in that home. And it's so interesting, because now if I were to do that, and I make a lot more than I did at that job, and I have a lot of paperwork to prove it, I couldn't qualify because I'm self-employed, because I run my own company.
It's just not fair. So like I said, you're a quality person, you're just not qualified right now, and it doesn't make sense sometimes. But creative financing works on the personal side for yourself individually, and if you want to invest. So I think it works hand in hand. Someone gave me that opportunity so I could get into a home, and I enjoyed that feeling. So we built a pathway to home ownership for people on how we exit our property. So instead of me buying a property and selling it for a profit right away, like fix and flip, HGTV stuff where I have to repeat it over and over, we buy properties, we take a small down payment, we let them pay us monthly and give them time to get what they need to get fixed, and then they cash us out later. So
and then the debt's not on your sheets as well, is it?
Well, it is. So, but if I owe $100,000 and then they owe me $150,000, it's a positive.
It's actually positive.
So that helps. Oh, that's another thing. That helps my borrowing power. So there's not just a real estate game or a business game. There's a credit game and a tax game, and you got to know it all and play and have good people in your court. I'm not a CPA or an attorney, but you got to have some of the best ones to go to.
How'd you learn all this stuff? I know there was YouTube University at the beginning, but that got you the push. But what was next?
Yeah, so I would love to say that when I got those 60 homes, I just did it perfect. I followed exactly what he said and did it, but no, I did lots of things wrong. So really, it was through experience, and some things I messed up, but in the end, it all turned out okay. And now I've slowly ironed it out, and I still make little mistakes. Now, if I could do it all over again, the first thing I do is find a mentor or a guy that would actually take me under his wing or something, and try and be there right in his presence. There's only so much that YouTube, courses, and events can give you, even though we hold them and I go to them all the time. I'm a big believer. But you have to have someone there to coach you, and someone that you can call, hey, here's this situation, that situation. Actually, there's a young guy that's with me today. We ran into each other last year in May, and in October he said, I want to do property. Well, from October to now, which we're in June, right?
Yep.
June, he has 42 properties.
42
42 doors. And it's just from not just him studying and learning, But the fact that he had me as a mentor, I was able to help escalate it. It took me 5 years to do my first one. He's a 20-year-old, and he started a couple months ago, if you think, like 8 months ago, and he's got 42 doors.
That's incredibly powerful.
Yes, it's
man.
amazing, amazing. It's fun.
Speaking about mentorship, you know, you've spent over 6 figures. You could say the number if you want on meeting Grant Cardone. And, and that's just one of the probably many investments that you've made in learning and mentorship. Walk me through your philosophy of, you know, paying to learn or to kind of skip levels.
Yeah, so I'm going to say it from my own experience. This is just worked for me. So when I was younger, like I said, $500 course or an event, I was like, man, that's too expensive, you know. But when I finally got pushed again, every time that I've done something in my life, it wasn't because I just went out there. I had to have someone push me. There was a $1,000 event that was happening in Vegas. I won't say the event, but I did go, and it opened up my eyes. And from that event, it made me, I don't know, 10 grand extra a year. I did a course. I ended up spending more, 5 grand on something. Taking that knowledge, it made me a couple $100,000, helped me get my momentum. Finally, I said, man, I've learned everything on YouTube that I can. I was trying to scrape and find. I found other investors, mentors. I went to a bunch of millionaires. I found out that millionaires are the worst people who give me advice. Really, they're on their way out, or they're scared like this.
Right, they're clutching on, they're clasping on.
Exactly. Now, there's a few. There's some guys that are hustlers. But then I said, who are the guys that keep pushing forward? Billionaires. So I said, man, I'm just going to, who's the best other than Grant Cardone, Ty Lopez, you know, Sharif Medawar, like these big guys that I really like. Glenn Stearns, and I think he's one of my favorite mentors, just the sweetest guy, not just in business, but in how he is with family, just he's well around. Well, Grant was the first trigger I pulled. I called their team. I said, hey, I want to do some one-on-one coaching. They said, it's $100,000. And I was like, oh. I remember feeling that same feeling for $500. $100,000 is a lot of money. In my life, never in my life did I think I'd spend even $10,000. And now I'm trying to spend 100 grand. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Worst case scenario, I've met him, shook his hand, can, you know, have a conversation, whatever. I'm going to do what I, you know, try and make justified.
Yeah.
Pulled the trigger, swiped my credit card. Amex called me. I said, yes, it's real. And then I had to scan it again, but it worked. Went good, got some good points. But flew out there and met with Grant. Talked to him. I mean, he made, just talking to him was really interesting to hear his thoughts on personal branding and all of that. But when I asked him about finance, real estate, and I told him my situation, he gave me really good experience advice. And I'm going to come back real quick. It's like if you go to the military, there's 2 drill sergeants. The guy that is by the book, tell you everything by the book, and that's great. But then the veteran comes in, the one who's dodged the bullets. He may not say what the guy in the book said, but he's never had any experience on it. But the veteran tells you the different things, and it hits different. Well, that's what I felt with Grant. So I took that, and I said, man, I left with this confidence that, okay, I'm ready to conquer the world. I have to be good at handling pressure. And then he made one phone call. That one phone call, and actually I met with the guy today that Grant called. That one phone call helped me with a certain refinance, and it made me $888,000 within 4 months of meeting with Grant Cardone. Just amazing. So the return on the investment is just, you know, amazing. So since then, I said, man, I'm going to really do this. So Ty Lopez, amazing. Just, I was talking to him 2 days ago, and this morning,
I saw some content that you filmed with him as well, the bald eagle thing.
Man, he's awesome. Been on his farm a few times, and just he's just got so much knowledge. Sometimes I just don't even want to talk. I just want him to say stuff so I can get all the gems.
Ty Lopez is the OG. I mean, he's been like from the beginning. Beginning, he was the guy selling courses on all these different things, and then he had Mentor Box and all these things. I really, sorry, did you have like something more to say about Ty Lopez?
No. Well, I'm just saying, like, he's just full of knowledge. People call him a scam, as people call Grant, but really you start meeting and hearing them and, you know, seeing what they're doing, and they really do what they say. Just a little bit that I've gotten from them has helped me immensely. But yeah.
I'm such a believer in that. From the beginning of my business journey, you know, real quick, my first sale ever kind of fell in my lap, and it's this like $12,000 a month deal with like the city of Ottawa. While COVID happened, I was doing these
crazy
police videos with a client.
12 grand a month. Wow.
That was my first sale ever. But I knew
Yeah.
I can't repeat this, and I don't have a real business. So really long story short there, I knew that this was temporary. I knew that I can't quit my job yet off this. And I knew I can't just go all in on this thing that's not repeatable. And I felt this imposter syndrome as well of being in business.
I always feel that.
and
Yeah.
I'm not a businessman. I don't know anything about this stuff. Yeah, I went to school for it, but I don't know the first thing. And I felt very small, and I was excited about the money, but I was like, this is gonna dry up. So what did I do? I invested in joining these different masterminds, and I invested my last dollars in courses, and just if I can meet someone who can teach me something, right? And that's kind of like why I still do the podcast today. It's like I'm learning things from you in this conversation right now that has so much value. But then even putting my money behind it, like even as recently as last year, Jamie and I have invested, I mean, a lot of money, a lot of money in coaching and courses and masterminds and events and this type of stuff. And yeah, the lessons and the people that you meet and everything that you learn, it just skyrockets your business journey. And I recommend it to everyone. Now, don't just spend recklessly your last dollar on a course thinking that it's going to do the work for you. No, it has to come with a lot of action, and you have to be strategic with not only just your money, but where you're going to put your time, right? I'm sure there's a million things that you'd want to learn more about, but you're like Shane, just slow down here. There's so many things vying for your attention.
Well, one thing that Grant and Ty, actually funny enough, Ty told me this morning also, is you don't want to do everything. You need to have the best team. And then that's number one. Number two, what you said, the fact that you spent so much money on these masterminds to help propel you forward, it actually saved you money, because if you didn't do it, it's going to take you 10 times as long.
So true.
You know, so I think spending money to go talk to the right people, don't just, like you said, you don't spend it to go have dinner with, I don't know, Garth Brooks or something. He's a singer, right? But like for me, that wouldn't be, it's just spending money to spend it. But to do it with the right people, where they'll take time and actually help you and guide you, it's going to be it's going to propel you straight forward. It's going to actually, it's an investment. It makes you more money.
Now I do want to switch gears a little bit towards something that is on the outside looking in, a little bit more fun.
Okay, let's
spend money on. So you've got this apocalypse mobile.
I do.
I want to talk about it, man. I want to talk about it for a second, because what made you buy that?
Okay, so
it's the coolest, it's the most badass thing I've ever seen, by the way.
It's a funny story. So many, I'm going to say 12 to 13, or I don't know, just many years ago, I was actually on Jay Leno's last show in the studio audience. I don't know if you know this. And there used to be a video of me. I remember seeing it when it came out on TV, of me running up. He let people give him a high five or whatever. And then as people started running away and he was about to go do a show, I realized I was trying to push through the crowd. I didn't give him a high five, so I ran up individually and gave him a high five. He's like shoving me off. So recently, like a year and a half ago, 2 years, I said, man, I'm going to see if I can find that video. It would be funny, you know, because I can say that was me, you know, just I wanted to show my fiance. Well, anyway, so I was looking up Jay Leno stuff. Saw that he collects cars, and on his show, on the thumbnail, it showed this huge 6x6 beast, of a vehicle, and I clicked on it, and sure enough, it's Jay Leno, Joe at SoFlo at Apocalypse Manufacturing, talking about the Hellfire 6x6 Jeep, like I don't know, it's just like a beast, you know?
Oh, it's insane. We'll edit in a photo of Shane's Apocalypse
It is so fun, you guys. You'll love it. Oh, I still can't believe it. But then I was like, okay, that's cool, man. I was like, So out of sight, out of mind. Funny enough, I was at a Grant Cardone event here in Miami. Went to Aventura Mall. Okay. And they had one parked inside for advertising. And I said, that's it.
A sign.
And there it is in purpose. I mean, there it is in person. It's a sign. I reached out to them. Amazing experience with them. They were so awesome. I came out, got to drive one. Shout out to Jerry, by the way. Jerry, thank you so much. They're actually filming, going to be on Discovery Channel. So I'm super excited. You guys check him out on Discovery Channel. Cool. But super great experience. They let me custom the inside, so I put a white interior. And, but it's awesome. So as soon as I put in the order, I think it was like 4 weeks later, I already had it. They had it shipped to me perfect experience, and it's so fun, so cool.
Out of, do you have, how many cars do you have? 3?
We have 4. So we
4.
have.
You've got the Lamborghini.
Yeah, I got a Lamborghini Huracan, which I think every boy when they're little wants a Lamborghini.
God.
So I had a Lamborghini. I have the 6x6. We have a Cyber truck. I just got that.
Nice.
And then my fiance, I gave her. She has her little Model Y.
Oh, there you go.
It's awesome. You know. Yeah.
That's that's awesome, man. So
Thank you.
these different toys, though, you know, they're not just for fun as well, right? You can write some of this stuff off. You can make your money back. It's not a complete loss like people say. Explain that to me. What your philosophy is for buying these more fun things.
So I'm going to even put the tax issue even behind me and start with something else. So how I thought about, because I never in my life thought I'd own a Lamborghini. You have to realize I grew up in a trailer park in South Georgia. You know, wow. I'm a karate teacher. You have to think about it, a karate teacher. You know,
there's not a lot of money in martial arts. People don't realize that.
Yeah, and we're doing it because we love it, right?
Yeah.
Now you can make money. There's some, but we do it because we love it, and I believe in it. I feel like for every kid who doesn't come into the martial arts school, we've ruined their life if we don't get them to come in because they don't learn all the values. But, you know, I never thought I would own a Lambo. Funny enough, it comes back to YouTube again. There's a guy that lives here in Miami named PJ. He has the thing called Exotic Car Hacks. I don't sponsor, I've never met him, but I bought the course, went through it and realized you can buy a car a certain way and make money from it or pay nothing over a period of a year or 2 years, depending on how you drive it. You have to check the miles and this and that. Thought it was a fascinating course. Fascinating course. So Woodside Credit, I'm going to give them another shout out. And it's David at Woodside. He got on to me last and said, David, here's your official shout out. But he made it super easy. I was able to buy the Lambo. And even right now, if I sell it, I'll actually probably make 15, 20 grand, and I've had it a year and a half.
And so you actually got to use it.
I got to use it. Number 2, I'm an introverted person, but it helps me get attention to help my personal branding. That was the idea anyway. And it gives me a little credibility as well, just to be quite honest. I'm just hoping it helped credibility. And I'll get to make money off it. I mean, that's the dream.
And it's fun.
And it's fun. I enjoy it. I drive like a grandpa. I've never break the speed limit or anything. Everyone makes fun of me, but I love it. And then Apocalypse, same thing. Great for marketing. I have my usernames on it, that and the Lambo. And I've actually had people bring me deals.
Yeah.
I've had people reach out to me and come to my events. So it did help me with marketing. Now, if you want to use it on the marketing side, it depends if the vehicle's over 6,000 pounds. Like I think the Cybertruck, might be a tax write. I don't know if that's my CPA, but like.
I mean, it's gotta be. That thing's a fucking brick of steel.
It's like driving a microwave, but it's a really beautiful microwave. I love it.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. It's cool that, you know, I want to go back to the personal branding thing, man, because it's really interesting to me that you've made the decision of actually putting yourself out there. When you do say that, you're more on the introverted side.
I am.
You know, it's not really, you know, even when I first met you as well, you know, soft-spoken gentleman who's just very, very kind.
I appreciate that.
And you know, you don't seem like a very loud, boisterous person who wants to draw too much attention to you, but you've kind of found that, and you must believe that social media can bring you more good and more opportunities, more money, more deals than not. But walk me through like how you feel about it truly. How do you feel about the personal branding stuff? Do you feel like it's a chore? Do you feel like it's fun? Are you starting to enjoy it? What's your relationship with it now?
I did not want to do it. Like I said, I'm an introverted person. I'm actually private, believe it or not. When I have my group, my clique, if you will, and I don't go outside of them. And not that I have trust issues, it's just I have my family, my group. And like even my oldest employee has been with me 12 years. My main employee's been with me, he's been here since he was 8, so he's 30 now. So many years, you know. So I'm very loyal to them, and I just stay in that circle. Personal branding is what Grant Cardone said do. Actually, everyone. I mean, Ty definitely says do it. And I said, you know what? They're saying do it. I just don't want to because I don't like the attention. I need to get outside of my comfort zone. Seeing Dallas, seeing what you said, that was another step forward that I needed. Then I was on Richard Branson's island. Glenn Stearns invited me. What an honor. Glenn and Mindy, shout out to you. Thank you so much. And I got to go to his island. I met Brad Lee, Andy Elliott, and all that. But Brad, I went up to him. I was like, okay. I just saw his videos the first week before I came, so I didn't know him much about stuff. I'd seen him on TikTok or something the week before. Went up and said, hey, Brad, nice to meet you. Tell me about personal brand. I've been thinking about it. I don't know like why someone would listen to me. And Brad said something like, I forget the exact words, but I'm going to kind of paraphrase it. He said, well, I mean, what do them guys have to say that, you know, is worth more than what you have to say? And then he just put his cigar in his mouth and walked away. Okay,
That's the most bad lead.
I know, but it was so cool. And he just went and got in the water and he was walking around with a cigar. It was really funny, but it was cool. But I said, huh, that makes sense. I said I had a meeting with Grant again, my second meeting, and it was all about personal branding. And I got to see Grant. He is what you see is what you get, but he's just a more personal person in person, of course, right? Of course,
yeah.
And he's like, hello, yeah, and he's a little more quiet, and he's very, you can tell he thinks a lot, which is very impressive. But then I asked him about the personal branding. He said, well, yeah, well, you just got to, you know, you got to exert yourself and get out of your comfort zone. He said, watch this. Grabbed his phone, got on the social media, goes, hey, this is Grant, woo, and he's talking. As soon as I get, yeah, that's how you do it. I mean, just easy. And I said, man, not that he's playing the character, he's not being fake. It's like me with you. I treat you different than my niece and nephew. I'm going to be like this with them and you like this with you. Right. And my mom, I'm going to be like this. And my fiance, I'm going to be like this, right?
Yeah.
That's not me having multiple personalities. It's just that's how Shane is in different categories. And that's business, Grant. Me being business Shane is a certain way.
Right.
You know? So going to the personal branding, I didn't want to do it, but that's my story and how I got there. Now I'm getting used to it. Shout out to all my team, David, Tim, and Colin. They have really helped me feel very comfortable. I got Austin here, Alec back in Atlanta, Tanner's here to support me now, and they've been little by little, not giving me just criticism, that too, but kind of say, hey, we could do this better, let's try that, and kind of guiding me forward. And now it's becoming more fun, and I'm getting a little more comfortable. And I can see how it can pay off and be fun.
And I can feel that, man. You come off like a natural now with this stuff, and it's really cool to see. And man, I can't wait to see what these seeds that you're planting now, what's going to result 5, 10, 15 years down the road.
Man, I
Generational wealth for, you know, for sure.
Yeah.
But then also, it's not just about money. I mean,
no,
it's
definitely not.
The people you meet, you know, the connections that you build, the impact that you leave, the people you're able to help, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's kind of, you know, to wind down here. I know we're both getting cooked out here, but
man, I'm going to be a lobster after this. It's fun. It's okay. Anything for you, Deepak.
Thanks, Shane. Appreciate it. You know, for the next chapter now, you've got how many doors now?
We have we just tipped over 400 single-family homes.
400 single-family homes.
Yeah, we have 100 plus apartment units. We got a farm in Costa Rica, some property in Costa Rica. We got some commercial. We got billboards, laundromats, cleaners, storage units. Trying to think what we try a little of everything. I've never done new development, but I'm trying to get into that. And I'm, you know, trickling into mergers and acquisition. But yeah, that's what I currently have. That's my little portfolio right now.
So what's next? I mean, is just more?
Well,
more of the same?
I want to build to 1,000, at least my first phase is to build to 1,000 single family homes and maybe 1,000 or 2,000 apartment units. I want to build at least $100-200 million in property. I want to get into mergers and acquisition.
Okay.
I think that would be fun. I believe that, you know, and it's not just I believe, statistically speaking, a lot of the baby boomers are starting to get out of the business. And 10,000 businesses a day, I think it's 10,000 businesses a day are actually just shutting down or just being sold from the baby boomers. You know, they're retiring. So I want to get into that. And then, of course, you said it's not just about the money. I like to have a reason why. Number one, my fiance Fair, I want to give her the best life. My family, I want to provide for them. The staff, the people who've been with me from the ground, like you don't understand how we start on the ground. Like we didn't even have foundation, we're on the dirt. I want them to be taken care of. I love them. They are family. Yeah. Then the next thing is I was a missionary from 24 to 28, and I realized how nonprofit that is. I'd have to come back and beg churches and other people for money. They didn't want to give it. Why would you take it out of country? Whatever. It's very nonprofit. If I can build businesses to plant those seeds that produce income, I can take care of those orphanages, the churches that we help build. We can build wells, houses, and I feed it like that. We don't document that on the internet. We keep that public. But that's the whole. So I like to feel like I'm helping and giving back, and I get to help other young people grow, learn real estate. It looks really hard, and I know how it is because it took me 5 years to get started. Even after I knew, my goal is to help other young people start right away and bypass all the issues. I'm the master of failure, and I learn from it, and I can help other people not make those mistakes and start right away. So that's kind of the gist.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And first of all, like a lot to unpack there, but you know, the philanthropic side of things that, you know, I know you're such a humble guy. It's not really something that you would want to go out and talk about and whatnot, but that's what people don't see behind like all the acquisitions of all the business stuff that you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
It does lead back to, you know, taking care of yourself, your family, and the greater community, and that definitely shows.
Absolutely.
And so one thing that I kind of, we'll kind of end it off here, but really selfishly, what I want to know is, like, you know, you're what, 37?
37.
37. So as
28 if you ask me in person. But yeah.
you don't look a day older than that.
Thank you.
But you know, I'm 28 years old right now. I'm in my, you know, business journey. I have a couple businesses here. I'm trying to elevate to the next level. I definitely want to get into the real estate game, and I will definitely talk about this a little bit further.
For sure.
But I want to know how you manage all the opportunities that come across your desk every day. I want to know how you manage your time, your energy. Like, talk to me about that a little bit.
Okay.
Because I struggle with that, to be quite honest.
Okay, so managing time. What have you ever heard of, like, an organized mess? That guy that just, you go in his house and blah, that's me really in general. But I've in the real estate, I did it myself mainly. I found the homes, put them under contract, went to the closing, I wired the money, I did whatever, found the tenant, I signed with them, and I did that. It wasn't until recently, of course, again, Grant Cardone, Ty, Glenn Stearns, they said you have to have a team. You have to have a team because you can't do everything yourself. Mm-hmm. So starting in October, I started building a team. Tim, Colin, David. We have Tristan. I'm not going to forget you, Tristan. My brother's also been helping me and him. My brother's the smarter one, by the way, Joseph. But but basically, we built a team, and now we've been actually starting to really grow. In fact, Colin, I'll give him a shout out again, is just from Facebook leads, listening to really basic advice. We did $3 million worth of property a week and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's just amazing. So I'm very proud of them. And now that has actually taken that off of my plate, and I just come and check those systems. And Ty Lopez, going to give him another shout out, taught me how you break up your business into 14 categories. In fact, he's making a course of that. As soon as it comes out, I'm buying it. You guys should buy it. But I saw him get on the phone with 2,000 employees and do a call at like 10 or 11 in the morning. 2,000 employees. And after he talked, they split out in the breakout rooms and did what they needed to do, like planned it, and he stayed on top. Ty also taught me that people say, don't micromanage. Well, every billionaire micromanages. So he says it is important to micromanage. You have to do that. So that helps me with my staff and make sure we're staying straight. As far as doing personal branding, I don't know what I'm doing. That's why I'm here talking to you. I got Austin over here, Alec, all these guys, and David, and them guiding me and teaching me what to do. I don't know what to say, how to say it, what camera. Was I supposed to look at this camera? I don't know. You know? So I'm learning that stuff. And then also be strategic for ads. And I don't want to be the cheesy, corny course guy. I don't want to be the guru guy. We want to be, hey, it's friendly Shane, but we also do have these things, and I'm trying to help you. And look, I just want to be more of a community builder. Let's all come together. We all have like-minded, and let's grow. So planning all that is tough, but that, and then as far as that, I think I'm getting married in November. So I've got a girlfriend.
Congratulations, man.
I've got family. I've got business, and then we try and hang out with friends. Like we're here with you guys. So yeah, it pivots each time, but I guess it built on incrementally. It didn't just come all at once. I think if I threw my buddies in my spot, they wouldn't know what to do. I have 5 phones or 4 phones and try and keep through those. But it built incrementally, I guess, the best way. So I might could learn better from you on the organization. Yeah.
So I love that advice. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think really for me, we're just looking at all these different areas of life, business, finances, health, love life. All these things are very important, but they can't always be weighted equally all the time. Sometimes there's periods, there's seasons where you gotta be so ultra focused on certain things, and then other things start to kind of dwindle. So it's interesting to hear that what you're basically saying is at the beginning, at least in a business context, do most of it yourself, build those systems, and then have a superstar, rock solid team that you can delegate to.
Absolutely.
And make sure that they're actually executing at the level that you accept.
Absolutely. And Glenn Stearns said it best. He said he brought in people that are just so much better. He's like, man, I feel dumb or horrible around, like, why am I here? But he has to realize that he has to be the vision and bring them together, and you have to have those people that are better than you. You know, I want to be the dumbest person in the room and have the best. One thing from Grant Cardone that I learned when I was with him, talking to him, he made 11 calls or so in the middle of the conversation when I asked him a question, because he wanted to make sure he called the perfect person to give me the right answer.
And act on it right away.
Act on it right away.
I like that. I like that. The last kind of thing that I want to leave you with here on this podcast is, if you could have one mentor right now who is alive, who you actually can potentially one day work with, who you haven't already.
Yeah.
One mentor or a person that you just want to connect with. Now's your time to, put it out into the universe.
I love all my mentors, but the person I admire the most so far, which I admire them all equally, but I'm going to just point out these people because they've been so loving and kind to me. It's a husband and wife. They've helped me see how they handle family, business, friends, and main thing, integrity, like really bad issues, and to see their perseverance and all they've overcome and still achieve success in all areas, not just money, family, everything, is Glenn Stearns and Mindy Stearns. I would love to work with them more. They've been so gracious to me. They invited me to Richard Branson's Island, to their home multiple times. To me, I admire them. Just, I can't say, like, to me, it's just, I'm fanning over them, basically. They're the best people, yeah. But I love them all. I'm going to go and give out more to Sharif Medawar, best commercial real estate investor I know. There's Ken McElroy. I've never met him, but I would love to. Grant Cardone, Elena Cardone was actually very amazing. She helped me with relationship stuff. Not that me and Farrah, my fiance, was having trouble. I told her, I said, I sat down with Elena. I said, how can I be a good husband to her and still give really good to business like Grant has done with you? And she gave me amazing advice. So shout out to Elena. It was her birthday yesterday, so happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And who else is there? There's, I forget where I stopped at. There's Sharif, Grant, Elena, of course, Minnie, and them. Ty Lopez, again, thank you so much. Been very helpful. Mr. Ledbetter, Larry Martin, Lou Brown. Yeah, lots of good people. Those are the top ones right now, but yeah.
Amazing, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming out to Miami. We're going to have a really fun time on the yacht today.
Super
I'm excited for it. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me, share a lot with me. Now I feel like you were my mentor today. I really appreciate this.
Well,
thanks
man,
a lot,
hey,
Shane.
thank you, man. Come see me in Atlanta.
100%.
Okay?
For everyone listening, just remember, it's not that deep. Shane, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on all social medias at Shane Seo, ShaneSeo. Send me a DM. I'd love to meet you. See you there.